Alright, boys. Well, it's been a long time since I don't use since I don't use um, sculpting mode for Blender. So, as you long remember, I was working on this alien a couple of days ago, or possibly 1 week ago. So the only thing that I did just to make sure that this alien is gonna work for us here in sculpting is this. I don't know why I'm having so much lagging here. I have pretty good internet and nobody else is using it. I don't know. I'm using wire. I'm not using um, Wi-Fi. I'm using my Ethernet, and I don't know why it's lagging so much. So um, let's talk about sculpting. Okay, it's been a while. I haven't done anything in sculpting here in Blender because when I was working in Vancouver, I was using ZBrush and Modbox. And the thing is this, I was pretty focused on working in ZBrush and things like that. But the thing is this, in the reality, we have to be honest. Blender is pretty good tool, but the thing is this, it's not 100% optimized like ZBrush. Um, the reason is because this is multi-software task like Maya and 3 Studio Max. However, Blender has much better tools for sculpting than other multitask software. So the approximation between ZBrush and Blender is almost like 90% in my personal opinion. The thing is this, many people is having a lot of conflicts with the thing that ZBrush is extremely optimized interface and it's extremely optimized software for sculpting, so it can handle like billions and polygons. So in here we can use millions and millions and millions of polygons. I think my highest number has been almost like 87 million or 155 million polygons long time ago. So I think for a character is more than enough. If you're a 3D generalist, I know that they're gonna say, oh, there's a lot of close-ups and things like that. Yeah, I know, but at the end of the day, you're gonna be able to use a lot of how to say we're gonna have a lot of margin of error in many different ways. For example, we have the support for normal maps at some point for extremely small details, so we don't need to 100% displace everything depending on what the pipeline is requesting. So in this process, the only thing that I did with this alien in order that this alien works in here, I mean, in generally, I just increase one level of subdivision and I just apply that because we need this resolution to have something a little bit more comfortable to work on it. So I will not 100% like show or teach every tool that we have here in Blender for sculpting, but I'm gonna show you the reality with this software that it has for detailing characters, for sculpting. You can do amazing things and pretty detailed things. I know ZBrush has better tools for sculpting and more um, much more developed tools in there. I know, but we have enough tools in here just to produce something really good, really good, almost like 90% close to ZBrush or Modbox. And personally, if you ask me which one is my favorite, talking about commercial software, or I don't want to say, but I will say it just because this is just an example. I hate the word industry standards because the industry standard should be based on results, not on what tool you are using. So, um, personally, I prefer more ZBrush than Modbox, 100%. And talking about the other guy in commercial softwares like 3D Code, for example, there's several movies. I think the 90% of the movies and the BFX um, entertainment area is using ZBrush against 3D Code. 3D Code is good, yes, I understand that, but for conceptualizing is good. But if you're gonna start just sculpting characters and things like that for movies, I mean, like The Hobbit, the Dam of Smoke, the second one with the dragon. The dragon was made in Modbox. I mean, all the detail, but the main structure was done in ZBrush. But at the end of the day, they use something a little bit more powerful. 3D Code is good, but I think it's more for juniors and intermediates because displacement maps, normal maps, subdividing are not so good in 3D Code. So let's just start just working with this guy, and the first thing that you need to realize in here is that you need to have pretty good UVs, you need to have pretty good topology in terms of, for example, don't pinch so much these areas in here, and also these areas could give us some issues in here, but I correct these areas a couple of days ago just for me, but at the end of the day they work pretty good. So how do we work in here in Blender for sculpting in here? So first of all, if you are gonna start just working with sculpting here for finalizing things, so first of all we need to use here in generate our multi-resolution. I'm gonna bring my how to say my screencast before I start. I am trying to use my my X-Pen screen for sculpting in here. First of all, let's just understand some basics in here. So in multi-resolution in here in Blender, so you have the levels in the viewport, you have the levels for sculpting in sculpting mode, and you have levels for rendering. So at the end of the day, they should be in the same number. If you have, for example, 2 in here, is because you want to see in real time just the level 2 in case if you are just correcting some errors in there. So we have the subdivide button in here to add levels. We can subdivide as a simple subdivision without the cat multiplier or linear. We have unsubdivide, or we can delete the highest number if we reduce one level, if we want to go one lowest. And we have this one is really cool because I really appreciate this section in here. So in shape, most of the time you're gonna use apply base. When you make a lot of distortions in sculpting, you need to apply these deformations to confirm the displacements. I mean, in order just to make like some protuberation in here, really expose and pop up. If you apply the base, that the base mesh, the base topology is gonna try to adapt to that shape in order just to have better results with the displacement maps. Generate, I have never used this one, but I have friends that they know about coding more than me, and they just did some Python scripts just to make interactions and extract all the maps directly to Photoshop or Affinity Photo or other 2D edit softwares. Advanced, this one is really important. Before you start subdividing, in my case, because we're gonna send this to Substance Painter, so we cannot keep the boundaries in here. We need to keep corners because we're gonna subdivide everything with Calmul Clark, and also the UVs are gonna be subdividing there. So most of the time I change keep corners, or you can change it keep corners and junctions. I will keep like this way, and then you can just start subdividing. When you start just sculpting in here, I highly recommend just to start with basic shapes. Is a pretty good recommendation because many people start with more than 2 or 3 levels in there, and that's not a good idea because you're gonna get a little bit crazy in there, and that's not okay. I mean, as more topology you have in there, more things you're gonna deal with it. So first of all, we have something like this. We can just start just working with the mirror. If you want to start just doing something pretty similar one side and the other side, most of the time I work with the tools in this area in here. I like to work in here with these tools in this area, and I move something like this. I want to have this big space just to work in a more proper way, and also most of the time I use clay strips, inflate, draw, and I use all these two, and the draw sharp, the crease sharp, and the crease polish, smooth, grab, elastic grab, and some other, but most of the time I use almost like 8 brushes and that's it, because I don't need more than that. For making like some hard surface areas, like making crystals or glass or things like that, I use this scrape and fill. In my case, for example, I'm gonna start with the clay, and then with Shift F you can just increase the strength or decrease it. In my case, I like to work with low values. And also, if you only press F and then just move it, you increase the radius of the brush. So first of all, I like to go here into the stroke, and then the space just reduce it to 1, because I don't want to have some spacing when I just start just doing some details. When you're working in characters here, especially in sculpting, it doesn't matter if you're working in ZBrush or Modbox 3D Code or here, you start just doing the silhouette. In my case, I already polished my silhouette, but I mean, in this case, I'm gonna just start just working with some specific muscles, not the main muscles, but for example, I'm gonna just start just doing something like this. I'm gonna increase like for 2 levels in here. I'm just gonna hide this guy. 1 more level in sculpting, and we can just go in here and just start just applying some details in here. For example, you can just redirect the muscles to here or here. It depends on what you're doing. Doesn't matter. I mean, take your references, but in my case, I just redirect in here because they're just going like this way, like this. And also I'm gonna try just to make some protuberances in here, for example something like this, just giving some shape, basic shape in there. I don't want to do something extremely fancy. I want to do something like this. Yeah, like don't make everything exactly the same. I mean, I'm using the mirror, yes, but you know, this shape doesn't look like this shape in here, so try to do something that doesn't look exactly the same. And for the smooth in here, I also love to work with low numbers in here because I don't like fatal errors in here. So I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna just polish in here, just gonna make something like this. Yeah. And exactly, for the muscles I already have almost all the muscles that I just tried to correct them before I started. So in here, for example, I can just change this and start just working with the crease sharp in here. I'm gonna reduce here the power, the strength, the strength. We can just start just marking in here and then just smoothing, just to make just the gap in there. I'm gonna increase a little bit the size, just making this. Yeah. How do I know where the muscles are? I have already taken my references before, because I already have finished all the sculpting for this guy in other file, so I know where are some of the muscles, and also taking mine. Some muscles are gonna have some variance in here because this is completely an alien, a creature. It's humanoid, yeah, but it's not 100% human, so we can just make some variance in there. And also think about how the character is gonna move and how these sections are gonna react with the character. So I'm gonna eradicate this guy because it's just giving me so much errors in there. So there you go, yeah. And yeah, let's just go back to clay. I'm gonna delete this guy, and we can just start just working with this guy, doing different stuff in here with the character. Let's just increase until 3. And another thing, I don't know, I know there's many people that prefers to work with smooth visualization. In my case, I have to be honest, I prefer to work with flat because I can perceive my mistakes and my errors much better than in other different ways. I'm just gonna, yeah. I don't know why this is just keeping things in here smooth. I don't know why. I don't like it personally, have to be honest. There you go, it's alright. So yeah, let's just do this because it's giving me more details where I can just improve my sculpting. So I'm just gonna do some specific details in here. And yeah, I'm gonna reduce the power of this guy. This is too aggressive, but I want to do some details, some gaps in there. I want to resharp these areas. like this. Okay, I'm just gonna add these details in here, and we can just more detail in here. Yeah. I'm gonna start just working also with these areas, with these pumpy areas. Just marking something like this. Yeah. That's all right. And for the inflate, it's almost, it produces almost exactly the same result, but I prefer how the inflate works in here than the clay, because for example, to do something like this, because it's a little bit more delicate, the result in here. So at the end of the day, I like something like this. And for the wrinkles in here, for the eyes, I'm gonna do something completely different. And let's just continue with the draw sharp, just to mark this gesture in here. Let's just use this guy in here. And we can mark something like this. And add a little bit more of detail in this section, like this protuberance, just then smooth it. The clay strips are pretty good. Also like the clay, but it's something more like this. Just to give you something like this, like variants in here. Let's just give a little bit more detailing here for this section. And you can give more detail, like something different, something like this. You can add more detail, like more specific wrinkles in here, like nothing too fancy, something like this. Just compensate this area with some bumpiness in there, like a second small cheek. I'm just gonna change this. Yeah, I prefer to use the matte caps, the principal one. Shows me more detail in there that I am working on. Let's just add more gaps in here, something like this, like something like this. It's just giving more presence. Disconnect. Oh my god, it disconnect, I think. Oh yeah, it's connected right now, don't worry. I'm so sorry, guys. There's some issues here in the city with the internet, because we have had some storms in here, and the internet companies, they're just changing the wires outside in the street and things like that, and that affects the performance in here. And yeah, as I was telling you, that guy is really good. He has been working in pretty good and important companies, transnationals, and he has a channel where he's sculpting almost every day, and he works pretty good in sculpting and highly detailed with Blender. And I've been learning so much tips and tricks with that guy, with Blender, and he has demonstrated to me in many different ways that it's not about the successful of one company is not about the tool, it's about the talent of the people. So the tool is gonna be in there, the tool is gonna be a tool, but you are the one that is gonna make the tool shine in there. So I have seen a lot of things that that guy has been doing with Blender, and I really got shocked. Like I said, oh my god, man, there's so many possibilities with this free tool in here. So what I learned about that guy is, he said, don't argue about what software is better. Tools are tools. Tools are gonna be in there, so you use them in your favor, in your advantage. So don't fight with the tool. The tool will never answer to you. The tool is gonna be in there just to help you to accomplish your goals. So that's 100% all right, man. So don't worry about if it's it free or it has low how to say low answer request about to improve it. So the community is really big, it's really good, it's free, you can do your stuff in there, and just use it, man. It's in there for you. It's really good, and it's gonna be it's gonna help you to make your projects. Yeah, Blender has the necessary tools. In my personal case, for my job, I don't have any regrets about Blender Foundations about that. I started a long time ago using my first 3D tool was Swift 3D. Long time ago, I was almost like 14 years old. I'm 43 years old right now. I'm an old guy. And the second tool that I touched, it was included in my compact Presario computer in that time. It was the first version of 3 Studio Max, and for me it was like a big boom. Watching the samples in there, the files, and I say, oh my god, what can I do with this? I can do this. And then I jump into Maya when I just started my bachelor, when I studied my two careers, because I'm a graphic designer and advertising and marketing guy. But I fell in love when I got my first class about motion graphics and 3D in graphic design. And my teacher told me one day, hey, you're pretty good, man. Basically, you're good. He offers me a job just for weekends, and I started just learning 3D in a studio, just doing advertising commercials and things like that in 2002. And I was just falling in love about what I was doing in there, and I say, oh my god, man, there's so many possibilities with this. You know, it's many people doesn't care about that, and it's like, just try to learn, just use what you have in your hands right now, and understand that tools are gonna be in there just to help your performance, your skills, and many other things. Don't That's something that also I learned at university a long time ago, almost like 20 years, man. And yeah, yeah. Just enjoy the processes that you're just working on. I jump in medium or intermediate details in here, as you can see, because the topology is already prepared, guys. I don't need to prepare it so much. The silhouette, the silhouette is already done, so that's the reason, because I'm just doing this stuff like this way. And yeah, for example, you can just do something like this. Let's just go to stabilize, just deactivate it, just to make things like this. Add it, but just smooth it just a little bit, just to give it a little bit more of space in there. Yeah, for the lips it's almost exactly the same stuff. What I did for the lips in here in first place is I just make some like Sharpie area in the border, like small touches, not 100% linear, just to mark the some specific areas. Don't try to make everything 100% sharp. Then I just start working with the clay strips in here, just to make something. Okay, no, the clay is right. Oh man, it's so freaking hot in here. Temperatures are not good in here in the town. Just make some specific general how to say, shapes in here, just to represent what you are just going to represent with more detail later in the character with other tools or with other brushes. Something like this, for example. Let's just make something like this, some specific wrinkles in there, and then just try to puppet just to make something different. Yeah, I don't remember, but there was, oh yes, it is alien bust. Yeah, yeah, but it's detailing. It's already prepared the topology in there. Yeah, I remember. Just going back to the subject, I remember one guy is a Latin American guy. I don't remember where is he from. I think he was from Ecuador or Colombia, and he did a null grandma in just 100% sculpting Dynamesh here in Blender with a pretty old version, but the detail was very insane, guys. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's an alien. Yeah, I don't remember the name. I will also share that guy in the next live that I do in future. I'm gonna be a little bit busy this month. I have many things to do. I need to accomplish some specific stuff in my personal life. And also I'm gonna study something outside of the creative areas. I'm gonna try to study some physiotherapy course, rehabilitation for athletes and things like that, because I'm a sport guy too. And I'm gonna try to accomplish that too, because if the industry goes like is right now, like right now, that is very screw. I'm just gonna change my profession. I don't wanna have any issues in future about my economy and things like that. There's some specific opportunities about 3D in future, and I'm also learning AI, but not so much. I mean, just the necessary, just to improve my tools, and that's it. But if there's a chance for another project, yeah, I will take it and I will fly again. It's been a long time. I really would like to try, for example, Japan, for working in there. I don't speak Japanese. I have friends in there, but I'm gonna try just to learn just basics, just basic questions in future for Japanese, because Japanese is really hard. I speak English, I speak basic German, and I speak a little bit of Italian and Portuguese, but not 100%. I understand them, but yeah. No, no, I'm not using layers in here. I'm in Blender, dude, and I'm not using the layer system in here. No, no, I'm not in ZBrush, and I don't have the add-on for the. It's just something spontaneous that I just wanted to do today, and that's it. Yeah. I heard that Blender Foundation is working on the layers for sculpting, like Mudbox for future. But also I heard that they're gonna try to do a system for with nodes to use it like Mary, but for sculpting. Uh, I heard there's a Russian guy that is developing that for himself, but I don't know, guys. It depends what you're looking for in this market. Yeah, for this section, for example, we can make some like pretty small spikes in here, like something like this, or you can change it here in stroke, like anchor, and then just change the how to say the radius in here, and then just start just click and drag just doing this, just representing the shapes in there, some variations in there, not 100% the final, just something like this. Yeah, but back into the subject. That, I think he's a Bulgarian guy. That guy is really good in Blender sculpting. He has done like a lot of superheroes, extremely good detail. I remember he has done Edmund Honda from Street Fighter, and when I saw the the live, he describes many things because he's doing everything just for look development, not for finalizing details for production. But he he's really good to about what he's doing. I 100% support that guy. Is really really good, and I'm gonna keep watching that guy. It's really good. I learned from also from beginners. There's some beginners with good ideas. I'm not talking about skills. I'm talking about ideas. They there's some beginners that they have better ideas than me, and I really admire that because it's something that you know, imagination is unique in every person. Is something that is not replicable. It's, you can copy, but it will never be exactly the same. You know, I admire creativity on people. I learned many things also from my students when I was working at university. I learned many things, solutions, and also that filled my interior also because that pushed me to learn more and say, if those guys just figure out that, I can figure out many other solutions. So it's just taken in a good way. It's use it in a positive way. The new ideas from other people, don't not necessarily copy. Just use what you need. Use it to create your own way, your own solutions. There's another guy that is he's like 100 times better than me, and he's a ZBrush guy. I highly recommend Jared Chavez. He's an American guy. He's a guy from States, and I've been following that guy since a long time ago. I also recommend photorealistic Ian Springs. He's a master about that. But Jared Chavez about doing creatures. That guy and a guy from Ecuador, Pablo Munoz, those guys, Jared Chavez and Pablo Munoz, they're really top-notch guys. I learned many things about those guys. There's another Brazilian guy that I admire so much, Bruno Camera. He's really good. He has working in Blizzard. I have a friend right now working in Blizzard that he's a really good character artist. And yeah, it's just try to find good artists that you can learn not only new stuff, I mean that you can just that contributes to you in a different way that you are learning. My way is not the best, but I try to add some new stuff and show some other different stuff for people that they don't know the software or they are a little bit frustrated about other solutions or things like that. So I'm not here to say this tool is better than the other. That's something that's horrible, man. It's I prefer just to show what I can do and you know, peace and love, guys. Peace and love. Rock and roll, metal music, jazz. Relax and do art, make art. It's good for everyone. I think art makes better people in many different ways. I also draw every day with pen, classic pen, and pencil. I'm doing some realistic eyes and human anatomy and things like that. I have never shown anything here in YouTube about what I do for drawing, but the day that I feel good enough to show my draws, I'm gonna share it with you guys. I'm gonna share some love. I'm doing some native birds that they're growing. They burn here in North America, in the north of Mexico, in the mountains. I'm drawing some birds, some beetles, insects, and things like that with pen and things like photorealistic. And I love doing that because that took me from my comfort area, and that put my toes in the ground, my foot's on the ground, and say, hey dude, you need to relax, just draw, enjoy what you have around. Yeah. I'm gonna try also answering your question, Resh. I'm gonna try in future because I'm trying to learn a little bit of coding, and also I'm learning with AI about coding because I'm not a coding guy. I'm pretty bad about that. I'm gonna try to develop by myself some tools about to make a Python script to make some tools for Blender to make some layer system for Blender, some formal layering in there, because I agree with many people. Blender needs some layers in some specific areas, but if Blender Foundation take the advantage about making a sculpting system with nodes, I will stop because that would be a great idea, man. Let's imagine sculpting with nodes as layers and tools for sculpting. That would be amazing. That would be really, really, really amazing because you can have so much control and non-destructive control like Nuke has with visual effects. It's or geometry nodes, but it would be great, man. I'm gonna send a request to Paulo Vasquez in Blender Foundation about that, or possibly I'm gonna just share the idea with those guys. I don't mind if someone just go first before me and share the idea with those guys. I don't mind, man. It would be really great just to do something like that, like sculpting with nodes. Imagine all the control that you could have about doing a specific things, moving things. I mean, moving sculpting details. With the nodes, you will be able possibly just to move details from one area or copy that detail without sculpting manually or doing another brush, just using a transforming and then just making a matrix. I mean a matrix in coding, and then just translate the that one into other area without just sculpting, just moving in there would be really great, man. Really, really great. That would be a new era. But yeah, but let's see if someone has the idea just to start doing that project, because I'm not a coding guy. I have never been a coding guy. I'm really bad, man. I suck about that. I try learning coding for 20 years, but I have never learned anything basic. because I'm more a creative guy. I mean, creative visually guy. That's something that many people just how to say, they just complain with me and they tell me, but you're very intelligent. No, I'm not intelligent, man. It's I'm a creative guy. I have creative solutions, but not mathematic or coding or uh, those kind of solutions that um, the left side brain guys they do have. Yeah, in my case, I'm more artistic guy. You cannot have everything in life. I can tell you for sure. And sometimes I do a lot of product development, like sculpting for products and things like that. And that's something that also helps me just to like mock-ups and things like that, um, stands and things like that. But as you can see, I'm focused more on entertainment, on the 3D area. Yeah, I know it looks symmetrical, but don't worry. There you go. Yeah, these gringos are pretty good actually for the rigging department. For example, if I have a lot of rigging guys, friends, and sometimes they tell me, "Hey, can I use your characters and things like that?" For those guys, I let my I can share my characters, but for other people, no, I don't share the file. But I have some friends that they're pretty rigging good guys and they don't have bad intentions. And sometimes I share the in the commentaries the credit, you know, that I have done the modeling, blah blah blah, and I give the credit that this guy has done the rigging and the skinning, and he's a pretty good guy bringing to life these characters. It's like win and win, you know. I tell him you can use it in your portfolio and just give me the credit that I also did this guy. But let's just do something good, not something just to steal the work from other guys. Let's just reduce this one because I want to produce, for example, something like this. And the clay one in here, for example, some specific areas in here. Let's just make some specific details in here. I can work with this guy too, but this guy is really aggressive in this way. I don't know why. We can also just increase the protuberance in here, just like this. Can make like some specific details in here, like something like this, and make something different. Yeah, last time I asked you guys, but nobody answered. I don't know where are you from, guys. I really would like to know because sometimes there's some people that I can figure out where, but it would be really nice to know where are you from, guys. I'm a Mexican guy, but I've been traveling so much, looking for jobs and applying for other companies and working for transnationals and things like that because it's just hunting job, man. It's the food doesn't pay by itself, so you need to realize that you need to travel, and it's pretty good experience also. When I was working in Germany, I met a lot of guys from different countries. I met one of my best friends from India. um, I love that guy. He's still one of my best friends, but in there he was my best friend, and he helped me so much, and he was with me in the when I was having my worst time in my personal life, in other different areas, and he was in there and he was talking to me. Guys from India, obviously German guys. I have a pretty good German friend in there, a guy from Munich, and I met a lot of guys from Spain. Same language but different cultures at the end of the day. And I met a lot of guys from Austria, um, and I met a lot of also American guys in there. A really nice guy from Texas. He's living really close to my hometown here in Mexico. I'm pretty close to the border to Texas. I'm really close to McAllen and Brownsville, Texas, and he's living. I think he's living in Houston. I mean, it's 6 hours, but compared to other places, it's really close. I can take a plane and I can just go and visit. And really nice guy from compositing. Guys from Italy. Um, you know. Okay, let's just to show you something a little bit different. So when you are just working with small details like just like protuberances, like pores and things like that, you can call textures in here also in Blender. That's not a big deal, but you need to call these guys in a very different way. So first of all, with um, custom brushes or things like that, I highly recommend just to use the draw, and then just go to your properties in here, and then just go to the bottom, and there's gonna be the texture area for properties, and then you can just select. You have different options. You have brush mask and things like that. So let's just go for new, and then open. And I have my brushes in here. I have done some brushes for me, some others I just extract them from photographs a long time ago. I have some of these guys. I have this guy that it comes from ZBrush because I have my I bought my personal sculpting license from ZBrush in 2022. But some things I do here in sculpting, some other very small things I do on ZBrush. So in this case, for example, you can just start just working like this. Just change the space to anchor, increase, for example, to 6, and then yeah, I have some other. Yeah, this skin is really good. I have done many things with this guy in here and also with this guy. Let's just use this guy in here. Let's just wait a little bit. For example, something like this. We can just start just doing this to make the wrinkles for this guy. just rotate it just to make the motion and things like that. We can also use this guy for this area to produce a little bit more different results, something like this. Something in reverse. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, something like this. I have the ability to reproject these guys in here with a 3D stencil, but I don't want to do that, guys. I just want to do it manually because I want to do something different. Also, for example, in this case, let's just go back. Okay, we're going good. We can just go back and reselect this guy here. Negative way in here, like this, like in positive. Yeah. There you go. We can have more details like this in this way. Yeah. And then we can just reverse the pores in here, like something like this. In this area. Just to give something different, something random. Yeah, there you go. Also, we can do that without the anchored. We can use the space one with spreading. Yeah, there you go. Something like this. Just to give something a little bit more faster. Yeah. You can just add the pores in there. I can be 100% honest. We have 90 million polygons in there. We can go double or exponential. That's not a big deal. But the thing is, I wanna show you something a little bit more comfortable, not to make the live laggy. And also, I'm planning in future, not right now, but in future when I get a new job, to make to build a new computer. This one is really powerful, but I really would like to make a custom one, because this one I just bought it with the specs that it already has. So as you can see, this is how we work here in Blender. And yeah, I'm gonna just stop in here, guys, because it's really late right now here in Mexico. It's 2 a.m. and I'm just getting a little bit tired. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you learned something completely different. Not new, because this is not new, but something different. And thank you very much, guys, and thank you for your questions, guys. And sorry about the delaying about answering, because sometimes I'm pretty focused on working on my stuff in here, but I want to share it with you. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Gute Nacht. Buenas noches. And bon voyage.